If you win, you manifested it, fantastic. If you lose, you would have spent so much time imagining it that you're really gonna want it. And because you're really gonna want it in your mind, you're gonna be more motivated to work hard than ever before. Most of you do not use your mind for what it's for. You've forgotten how to imagine things. But you cannot close your eyes and vividly imagine. You can't give yourself goosebumps. You can't evoke an emotion in yourself anymore. This is an age-old skill that humans had very recently up till social media.
Hey guys, welcome to Red Pill Therapy with Dr. Tony. I am Dr. Tony. So I got a banger for you by Andrew Tate. It's motivational in nature. It covers a lot of the tenets that he's talked about for all these years. I personally think Andrew Tate was very good for those men who want to be masculine. And I say those men who want to be masculine because there's a lot of men who choose not to and don't want to be masculine. But for those people out there who want to be what a man truly is, I think this man embodied it. I don't care about all the other stuff and BS that you heard about him. That is what that is. So I'm going to continue to play it here, and I'm going to give you 10 reasons or 10 gifts that actually that Andrew Tate has given us men to follow. So check it out. I'm going to be stopping in here and there and giving my opinion too as we go along. So here we go.
You should be able to close your mind and imagine the life you want to live so viscerally, so to the point where you can taste it, so that this reality, the one outside of your mind, feels like nothing but a prelude, a ramp, which allows you to get where you want to go. The mind is that powerful. If you ask any champion of anything, they always envision themselves as champion all of the time. And the reason they do that is, one, so they feel confident, but two, so that if they don't become champion, they're more angry and more motivated for the next attempt to ensure that they do become champion. So that's the mentality and the mindset you have to have. Your mind is your number one ally in all things. A lot of you have been sabotaged internally by your own mind. Your own psyche is working against you. When you have negative thoughts that prevent you from being the best version of yourself, you should understand that your mind is attempting to betray you, and you should feel disgust because you have enough enemies. There are enough people in that opposing trench trying to destroy you. If you're watching this and listening to this right now, I promise you, if I were to give a button to most humans on this planet, if I were to go up to an average man, 25-year-old man of average income anywhere in the world and say, if you press this button, this guy's gonna die. And I'll show a picture of you holding your dog, cuddling, being a nice little boy, whatever you're doing. I'll make you look sweet and innocent. I'll say, if you press this button, this guy dies, but you get $100 million. You do understand that 99.9% of people will press that button, right? And they'll take that 100 million without remorse. They won't really think about you very much. And if they do, they'll distract themselves with a Lamborghini and with bitches. That's it. They won't care about you. There's enough people in the opposing trench who are prepared to destroy you for self-interest, that the idea of you not having every single part of you on your own side is truthfully sad. You need to be in a better position than that. You cannot allow your own mind to betray you ever. It has to be 100% on side all of the time. Once your mind is on side, once every part of your psyche is on your team, that's when you can go and look for other teammates. You can expand your network of other people whose psyche is all 100% on their side, and you have a unified outlook on the world. Then you can go and get things done. But the idea of self-betrayal is something most of you are struggling with and you didn't even realize.
Yeah, well, I think that's a really important part that Andrew brought up about self-betrayal. Really, how we are our own worst enemy or our own worst critic as well. So it's very important that we are really honest with ourselves, that really what do? We mostly blame everyone out there. We blame society, we blame oppressors, we blame everyone but ourselves, okay? And most of these entities are not doing anything more to us than we're doing to ourselves. So I think that's a really good point. Let me go through a few points at a time here with Andrew Tate. Some of the, I call them gifts that he gave to, I'd say to men, and I always say to men who want to be men, not the little girly men out there. They don't really count. They don't want to be counted. Fine, let them go. Be whoever they are. That's fine too. Hey, I make no judgment. Okay. So one of the things is he reasserted the importance of male strength. Okay, to be unapologetically masculine. Okay, not to tuck your tail between your legs for having a pair of balls. Okay, that's not what being a man is about. You know, he championed physical dominance through discipline, through ability to fight, things like that, which are essential masculine traits. If we didn't have those traits, I don't know how we would have survived as a species. Okay. So all of this is just really being, suppressed under the guise of toxic masculinity. They've taken our normal male traits and they have pathologized them, meaning made them some kind of a sickness. Okay, it's just like ADHD. You can't have a 7-year-old boy and a 7-year-old girl. The boy can't sit with his hands on the table for 6 hours in a class. No, his normal behavior is rambunctious. It's exploratory. He's going to want to be all over the place. Okay, so what they did with that back in the day is, hey, they made a disorder out of it, and of course Ritalin and all your other medications that come with it. So they create the disorder. Big Pharma gets to cash in. You see how even as kids, male boys, they get, I'm a psychotherapist, okay? So I see a lot of kids, especially boys, get misdiagnosed with ADHD. One of very, very easy to misdiagnose. It happens all the time. They put him on drugs. And then that same boy grows up. He wants to be some semblance of a man. Maybe he's got leadership skills, maybe he is unapologetically masculine and he's physically dominant, strong, mentally strong. Okay, now that is male toxic masculinity. Okay, so, they just try to really suppress us from a very young age. That's my whole point of bringing that story up about ADHD. But let's continue on and see what more we're looking at here with Andrew. So
as a thought experiment, we're going to sit here. I want you to actually think about it. How many times have you doubted yourself? How many times have you didn't feel like doing something you knew you were supposed to do? How many times has your mind tricked you into procrastination or being lazy? How many times has your mind convinced you that it was okay to fail and lose even though you didn't try your best? How many times have you sought comfort in excuses? How many times have you betrayed yourself? Don't worry about your enemies attempting to crush you. That's another conversation. If you actually analyze most of your failures, you're going to see the majority of them come from self-sabotage. And once you're in a position like me where you never betray yourself, where your mind never lets you down, ever. My mind knew exactly what I had to do. I did not miss a single day's training. I did not lose my mind. I did not go mental. I did not have a breakdown. I acted exactly as I was supposed to act. I was fully professional in all things. I got as much work done as I could possibly do. I was extremely productive. I used the experience for what it was. My mind never betrayed me. If you listen and look back on most of your failures, you're going to see that it was your own mind that betrayed you.
And let me step in on that right where Andrew is at. So when he talks about your own mind betraying you, look at what he was bringing up, like how he would follow through in his workouts, with his productivity, things like that. The betrayal also is your lack of discipline, okay? You can be a very responsible person, but are you a disciplined person, right? You can be a man that takes care of the house and pays the bills, but, hey, maybe you drink 3 or 4 days a week, right? Or, you don't work out, you don't try to take care of yourself. You're supposed to read and feed your brain more. You're not disciplined, more knowledge, but you don't do that, right? So discipline is something that's very important that all of us men need to hone down. God knows I'm not perfect, but it's always in the front of my mind to be better every day.
It wasn't your enemies that tricked you. It wasn't your enemies that outmaneuvered you or outsmarted you. Most of you are not yet at high enough echelon to even have enemies of caliber.
Right.
You were simply self-betraying. And until you identify that pattern and get yourself in the habit of ensuring that is impossible, then you're always going to lose against people who fully believe in themselves.
Right.
You know, one of the things that stupid people have that makes stupid people quite successful sometimes is irrational self-belief. And the smarter you are, sometimes the harder it is to irrationally believe in yourself. But if you're dumb enough, you can be arrogant enough to have this irrational self-belief, and you will see some people be very successful and you say, how is this idiot successful? Because they're so stupid that they don't consider the idea of failure. Their mind isn't advanced enough. They are not cognitive enough to consider betraying their own being.
Well, as they say, ignorance is bliss.
They only see outside. They don't self-reflect. If you're intelligent enough to self-reflect, you need to do it so that you can come up with feedback, so that you can constantly improve. But be very aware of the trouble that can come from a mind that's not 100% on your side.
Exactly. So let me look at a few more things here, break down a few more things that actually these gifts that I was telling you that I believe, again, that Andrew Tate has given us. Let's look. So he also encouraged men to reclaim their masculine frame. Okay, I mean, really, what does that mean? Just frame control, boundaries, self-respect. Okay, being who you are, standing on your square, not apologizing for things that you're not sorry about. Not being a simp either. Okay, that's part of having a masculine frame, especially in the context of women. Women are going to do what? And people in general. But I'll talk about it in terms of relationships. Women are going to test your boundaries. They need to test your boundaries. It's written within their DNA to test your boundaries to see if you are the strongest male for her to pass her kids, onto and to have her legacy continue. Okay, so that part right there, you got to look at. You're going to be tested. Keeping your masculine frame. What does that mean? That just really means not getting emotional. Now, I always tell people, I'll tell my clients, yes, you communicate, but don't argue. And if a person that you're talking to, that you're with rather, is not willing to communicate, there's nothing more to be said. And that's what I tell my couples and or clients in session. Okay. Some women, well, you know what? Tell you the truth, in all these years, almost 25 years, I have not had any woman push back on me about that because they know that's the truth, okay? He also modeled confidence and assertiveness, okay? Whether you loved him or not, he commanded space. He had this presence about him. A lot of men are just passive and apologetic and self-doubting. This man took up room and space around him. Maybe not always in a physical way, but his mentality, okay? His presence was large. It's okay to have that large presence. It's okay to walk in the room and people look at you because they see someone important, someone special, because that's what you feel about yourself, okay? So it starts there, all right? And another thing, he never apologized for being a man, okay? It's just one of those things. Hey, look, he's a man, he's got a cock and balls, I'm just going to put it out there like that, and that means that he gets all the rights and privileges to be that man, all right? So whether we have leadership skills, we have aggression, we have this fight within us, okay, these are all parts of being a man and being masculine, and you made no apologies for it. And another thing, he woke up men to the lies of the system. Okay, what does the system do? It teaches us how to be soft, obedient, yes men, and of course simps. All right, and that's just a narrative out there with these women out there. They'll tell you, well, I want a man that cries, and I want a man who's sensitive. Go ahead and do that. Once too long, from too much, okay? They're gonna have less interest in you. Look, let me tell you, again, as a therapist, I work with men that are maybe in there's some 40s, 50s, and maybe they've lost their married men, but individually, and they've lost, say, their father. Probably one of the worst things that can happen to a son is losing a father that was close to him. Probably just as bad or up there with losing a child, okay? We know we're going to lose our parents, but it still hurts when it happens just as bad nonetheless. So many guys that I work with, they can't even confide and rely on their wives for comfort. Yes, they're probably in the worst place that they're going to be in. Yes, they're crying, they're emotional, they need that help, they need that support. And so many times so many times these women, they can't even be there for their man. Okay, they can't support him, and I've seen times where these women, they have left their husbands because they were in their they were grieving. So I don't know. That's one thing that I don't like about marriage. That I'm really worried about women is, like, when they're at their lowest, you got to be there for them. When you're at your lowest, it's optional. So anyways, that's my little gripe about that. Let's continue on, you guys.
My mind is 100% on my side in all ways. If I have to do something difficult, even if my body can't do it, my mind believes I can do it all the time. And you'd be amazed how much of life, even in the physical realm, is mental. If you believe you can run a marathon, you can run a marathon. If you don't believe you can run a marathon, you can't run a marathon, because a marathon is hard. And by believing in it, by truly believing you can do it, then you will your body to a different level than if you don't believe you can do it. It's the same with absolutely all things, including making money, including the gym, including dealing with mental struggle. Anxiety is self-betrayal. Panic is self-betrayal. Procrastination is self-betrayal. Laziness is self-betrayal. Lacking motivation is self-betrayal. All of these things are self-betrayal. Most of you, your largest enemy on the planet today is yourself.
Yep.
You are the one who is destroying your own prospects because you don't have your own mind under control. And one of the things that's crazy about the world is your mind is one of the few things you can control. You can't control very much else. You can only control your mind. It's the only thing you have control over. So if you don't control it absolutely, you're going through life with no control over anything. You don't control your own mind, which means by extension, you do not control your life. You do not control your woman. You do not control the weather. You don't control nothing. You're just an empty vessel going through life with zero control over anything. You can control, once your mind's in check, your reaction and attitude to things. When you're in the trenches, there's people who give up, there's people who quit, there's people who sow FUD, there's people who feel sorry for themselves, there's people who want an easy way out, and there's other people who say, listen, this is a test, and the only way we're gonna get this done is to be irrationally positive all of the time.
Irrationally positive. I like that term. Yes.
He's like, well, what can I do about the price of Bitcoin? Perhaps nothing, but the universe may reward you karmically if you at least try to do something positive. Go for a walk, go for a run, burn some calories. Why don't you go down to the nearest grocery store and buy the old lady's groceries? How about that? You're unhappy that Bitcoin's gone down. Fine. What I recommend you do, although you may not understand this because you don't see them as linked, but karmically, all things are linked inside of this universe. Go down to the local grocery store and buy some groceries for an old lady. That's what you should do to fix the Bitcoin price. Now, will that genuinely affect the Bitcoin price? I don't know. It's amazing how this world works. Perhaps in some strange version of events, that slight delay in her thanking you and her getting in the car ends up leading to an increase in the Bitcoin price. But even if it doesn't, perhaps you'll learn something about not being so attached to money.
Makes a lot of sense there. So I really like where he's coming from on this. Again, we get so much, we get tied up on wanting so many results in life, looking at money for this example. And what he's saying is get out of your head and get into your heart and give some of your heart to someone else. Okay. Pay it back. Just being an act of service to others. I volunteer a lot in different communities, and I always have for many years because, number one, I like to do it. I've got enough professional experience that I can be on boards and running things and walk in my suit and everything. But you know what? I like to be out there in the trenches. I like to be out there, prepping food and handing food out and in different other environments. I work with the homeless a lot. That's my thing. I don't care about being a professional. I'm just another guy out there giving my time, and it humbles me so much to be able to help people and to really be grateful for the things I have, even when I don't think I have a lot. You do something like this, you volunteer, you give back to others, you'll see how much that you really do have. So I do believe in that, what he's talking about there, in terms of just the story about just buying the woman the groceries in the store, so you can feel good about yourself and karmically bring something good in your life. You open up those possibilities. So I do agree with that, with Andrew.
Perhaps you'll feel grateful and understand you have a lot more spare money than you thought in the first place. Perhaps your attitude to the world will change,
Yep.
which will allow you to be more open-minded so that you can approach opportunities in a different way so that you make more money later on. Karmically, it's impossible for us to tangibly link how that positive action will lead into something else positive in your life later on. We just have to have faith that it will, because it will. So when I said this to this guy, he's like, LOL. That's his reply. He replied LOL when I said he should go buy groceries for somebody. And he doesn't understand the world. And I thought, well, why don't I go speak to thousands of people and talk positive then? Not to save him, but just to put my money where my mouth is, just to prove that you can just do something good. And if you just do something good, it is better than doing nothing. Rain dances work. If you need it to rain, you shouldn't sit and pray. You shouldn't sit and hope. You shouldn't sit and complain that it's not raining. You shouldn't sit and wait. You should rain dance.
All right, let me jump in here. I'm going to give the last three things that these tenets, or like I said, these gifts that Kevin is giving masculine men, or men who aspire to be more masculine, and we'll go from there. He also promoted brotherhood and male mentorship, something that we don't see that much. It's too bad. Like in America, at least, most male institutions, male spaces have been taken over, or yes, I'll say infiltrated by women. Your academies, your military academies, maybe other various schools. I've been a football coach off and on for some years, Little League football, and almost every year, there's a girl they want to play, and you know what? I can't fight it. I got to let them play. Usually, usually they're not going to make the team, or they'll get hurt or something. They don't really go too far in it. But it's like, if it was up to me, I wouldn't let them play. Okay, it's a male space. Okay, and women love to be in male spaces. Why? They cry to get into those spaces. The woman, the little girl, the baby is crying to her daddy. Okay, when she's a little girl and her brothers friends are playing in the treehouse, right? She wants to play in the treehouse too. She goes running to mommy and daddy. Mommy and daddy, let me go play in the tree. I want to play in the treehouse with my brothers. Okay, go let her play. So now she's in there. Now the boys they're censored. They have to act different. And it goes all the way up to legislation. I mean, you go all the way, the crying never stops. Okay, so I'm saying to get into those male spaces. So he brought back the concept of having those male spaces and the brotherhood and mentorship. So I was really fortunate to be in the military for a good length of time, and I had that brotherhood and that mentorship as well. So I appreciated that, and really these days the military is one of the few places that you can find that. And being a combat veteran too has also given me a few more special experiences in terms of that brotherhood, that I've got friends for life going through the things that we did. So, there was a saying back in the 90s and earlier, you young guys probably never heard it before, something called bros before hoes. Anyways, but that meant something. That meant, look, you put your friends, your guy friends, they're the priority first. If you had a girl, you had a girl, but you know what? You didn't let her run your life, So, anyways, that's that part there. He also inspired physical excellence. I mean, of course, he was, I believe, he was a kickboxer, but obviously after he's retired, he stayed in great physical shape, because when your body is in shape, your mind's in shape. Like, for my clients that are depressed, What's one of the first things that I do? I look at their rituals, their routines. I look at when they go to bed, when they wake up. If they're staying in bed till 1 or 2 p.m., which a lot of depressed people, they're going to stay in bed all day or a lot of the day. They're not taking care of their hygiene. I see how much you're working out. When I say working out, not for vanity, for meaning look's sake, just for your mental health. A lot of these people, they stop taking care of themselves. It's like you don't walk the dog, you don't go to the gym, you don't take walks by yourself. So one of the first things I do before I get them on, or give the referral for the psychiatrist to get them on drugs, I always recommend therapy at least for the first 4 to 6 months to see how we're doing after that. But part of that, I try to get them on some kind of exercise regimen. When I say exercise, again, not for vanity's sake, not to look better so much, but which is a potential result, but to get them out of the house. Get some vitamin D when they're walking in the sun. Okay, get them active again, because engagement with life, engagement with engaging physically, engaging socially, right? Engaging in all kinds of ways, and even with our hobbies and things like that again, that engagement takes us away from these depressive states and gets our lives more normalized again. So so physical excellence, he looked at that too. I'm a fan of that as well. And then he also gave last but not least, he gave men permission to want more out of life, to want more than the 9-to-5 grind, okay? To really be, as that old Army saying was, that old Army recruiting saying, be all you can be. And I believe in that. You don't have to settle for making whatever you want on your job. You can get more education, you can get a better job. Or if you don't want to get out of the 9-to-5 matrix, look, you can go ahead and do more, in terms of being an entrepreneur. You can go in business, so many things you can do. He just encouraged men to want more, not just to work at the post office for 40 years. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but these days, you're not going to see a lot of pensions anymore, and hey, a lot of you guys, when you get older, Social Security may not be there, so it might just be the norm to really have to search for more, to have a side hustle going, because hey, this economy the way it is, this is very expensive to survive. So let's look at more, and we'll go from there.
Does a rain dance make clouds appear? No, but you should take action. Perhaps your rain dance, although will not make clouds appear, will be viewed by a tribe high on the mountain far away, and they'll look down seeing you rain dance and realize that you need water. And then maybe Providence and luck will have this tribesman appear with big barrels of water saying, we think you might need water and we have some spare. If you didn't rain dance, they wouldn't know. They just see you sitting around being a mopey dipshit, crying his eyes out. That's why it's so important to take action in all things. Action solves all. Raw action is the answer. Raw action solves all. It is a mindset. So this dipshit complaining about this crypto price, he's not prepared to rain dance. He's not prepared to help a granny with her groceries. He's not prepared to do anything. God does not reward men that way. God rewards men who attack the world.
Right.
You have to go and get things. You have to show that you deserve them. Even in mating, men go get the woman. Men go get money.
Yep.
Men go take land.
Yep.
Men go. We go and happen to the world. The world doesn't happen to us. What did we say earlier about if you try your absolute best, you can always find the W even in the L? Mm-hmm. I tried my absolute best, so I win. Raw action solves all.
Yeah.
If you had that kind of attitude, you wouldn't be looking at a crypto price and sitting there praying and hoping like a dork. You'd be doing something about it. Oh, I need your help. Do you? I don't even see you trying. And that's how God views things. That's how, in fact, most wealthy people view things. I haven't seen you do anything that warrants me giving you a second of my help. People feel like rich people are horrible because we don't help the normies. Even if you try and help normies, most of them are beyond help because they are self-sabotaging and lazy. You have to at least show to the people who are important in the world that you're not those things in the beginning if you ever want to be taken seriously, at least. That's one of the first things you can do. But I want to see that you give a shit. I only want to give money to people who know how to rain dance. I only want to give money to people who sit and believe that the rain dance is the answer. I like rain dancers. I like people who sit and say, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to do something.
I'm going to leave it there, guys. So, you guys, again, for those of you who heard about Andrew Tate and you have some kind of negative opinion on him, and if you've looked at, at least this video or a certain portion of it, I'm trusting maybe you have a different take on just really what he stood for or stands for, in the sense I don't see where this man is trying to bash people or oppress people. But what he does is he gives men the harsh realities of life. As I tell other men and even my male clients, I tell them, the world's not going to cry for you. The world is not going to shed a tear. They're not going to have any sympathy. Actually, your pain is funny to the rest of the world, men and women included. Right? Okay. So, like he says, men, life doesn't happen. Life doesn't happen to men. We have to go out and we have to make life happen. Okay. So we do. We're tasked with that. Okay. That's our responsibility. And all he's really just saying is be the type of man that is willing to go out there and take life by the goddamn bullhorns and steer it in the direction that you want to go to. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't care how many people want to call it toxic or whatever. Who cares? I don't care about how many dickless males are out there. You just leave them be. Don't listen to those people. Don't even deal with them. You run your race. You run your race. You're on your journey. This is the only life that we got, at least that we know of at the moment. So we got to make the most of it. Okay? And time waits for no man. All right? We're getting older every day. And if you look at the things that he is saying in this video and the things that I've talked about, which are some 10 tenets from him, if you follow these, you'll be a better man for yourself. You'll be a better man, a better person for humanity. Okay, so, all right, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Channel is new. It's starting to blow up. And I want you guys to, just, show a brother some love and just help me out with this. And I'll keep these videos and this content coming out just about every day. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right. Peace.